Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Asanyatatmana yogo dushprapa iti me matihi vashyatmana tu yatata shakyo vaptum upayataha. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead declares that one who does not accept the proper treatment to detach the mind from material engagement can hardly achieve success in self-realization. Trying to practice yoga while engaging the mind in material enjoyment is like trying to ignite a fire while pouring water on it. Yoga practice without mental control is a waste of time. Such a show of yoga may be materially lucrative, but it is useless as far as spiritual realization is concerned. Therefore, one must control the mind by engaging it constantly in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Unless one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he cannot steadily control the mind. A Krishna conscious person easily achieves the result of yoga practice without separate endeavor, but a yoga practitioner cannot achieve success without becoming Krishna conscious. Srila Prabhupada several times pointed out that the difference between Arjuna before speaking Bhagavad-gita, before he heard Bhagavad-gita, and after he heard Bhagavad-gita was a difference of consciousness. Arjuna wanted to give up the fighting, but Krishna told him to fight. But for Arjuna, he couldn't think of fighting in that circumstance. So therefore he didn't want to fight. Something has to change. In Arjuna's mind, something has to change. I cannot fight. So Krishna accepted that something has to change. But he told Arjuna, it's not that you should stop fighting, but your understanding of why you're fighting, that should change. Considering the reasons for which he thought that he was being engaged in fighting to be incorrect, Arjuna declined to fight. But Krishna said, yes, you should fight, but not for the reasons that you think you should fight for. If you propose those reasons, then maybe you shouldn't fight. That could be accepted. But I'm here, Krishna, he is there as the chariot driver of Arjuna, and he's preparing to help Arjuna fight. But why Arjuna thinks he's fighting and why Krishna thinks he's fighting, the understanding is quite different. So if we accept Arjuna's reasons for why he thought he should fight, then maybe he has a good argument not to fight. But Krishna said, no, you don't understand why you should fight. So Krishna, by speaking to Arjuna, he wanted to bring him through a whole change of consciousness. He wanted to bring Arjuna to the platform of self-realization. Arjuna asked Krishna, what are the symptoms of a self-realized person? Sthita pragya. It's called a sthita pragya, one whose intelligence is fixed. Now, if we think of a self-realized person, what would you think would be his symptoms? You wouldn't think that he'd be fighting and killing people. When you become self-realized, you kill people. Doesn't sound right. But Krishna told Arjuna the symptoms of a self-realized person are prajahati yada kaman sarvan pata manogatan atmanyev atmana tushta stita pragyasta dochate. He said that a self-realized person, he's given up all personal desires that arise from the mind. and he's fully satisfied in the self. And Arjuna might say, well, that's what I was thinking, so why do you want to engage me in fighting? But Krishna will gradually make Arjuna understand that to give up desires for personal desires, that means we should act according to Krishna's desires. And Krishna had his reasons for wanting to Arjuna to fight. So it's not that self-realization means fighting per se, but it means following Krishna's desire, acting according to Krishna's desire. And in Arjuna's case, not in everyone's case, but in this case it meant that he should fight. So the discussion in this verse is that about controlling the mind, which is a very difficult thing to do. Srila Prabhupada often pointed out that people just... Now I have to control my mind and not get angry. Srila Prabhupada often stated that people, they talk about meditation, and many people, they do meditation daily. I think more people in America probably do meditation daily than in India. But it's useless, because no one can control the mind actually. What they call meditation, it's more like some relaxation technique. But the mind is not controlled. But even if the mind is withdrawn from sense objects, which is discussed in the second chapter of Gita, Kurmo nangiva sarvashaha, the mind is withdrawn from sense objects like the tortoise withdraws its limbs within the shell. But that's still missing the point. The point is to fix the mind. The point is to fix the mind on Krishna. Yeah, so Srila Prabhupada often pointed this out, that people are doing meditation and the mind is supposed to become still, but the mind, it's just in a relaxed state that the mind is wandering here and there instead of a more turbulent state. That's what they call meditation. So real meditation, in this chapter, meditation is discussed. Real meditation is dhyana avastita tadgatena manasa pashanti yam yoginaha. Real meditation is aimed at seeing Vishnu within meditation. Yoga dhyana. So the whole point is Krishna consciousness. This movement is called the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And often people ask us, well, do you practice meditation? So we can reply, yes. And they say, well, how long every day do you meditate? And say, well, our practice is to meditate 24 hours a day. And people think, oh, that's 24 hours a day. But now you're talking to me, so how are you meditating? But our understanding of meditation is different to the idea of sitting in one place and the standard understanding of meditation. How much every day do we sit quietly, just trying to withdraw the mind from sense objects? Never. But the Krishna consciousness means to fix the mind 24 hours a day on Krishna. In this idea of meditation, the body, what generally people think of meditation, the body and the mind are completely still. But in Krishna consciousness, meditation, it's meditation on Krishna. And that means active service to Krishna. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, he always translated bhakti as devotional service. Generally people think bhakti means devotion, but Srila Prabhupada is more specific, devotional service. Yeah, actually in Indian English, service generally means paid employment. But the Sanskrit word seva, which comes in every Indian language, or at least every Indian language which is derived from Sanskrit, most Indian languages, that has a different connotation. The connotation of seva is service that is performed without any expectation of payment. It's done as a duty to a superior. And the idea is that it's done out of duty and also with affection to a superior, and not expecting any payment, but expecting the good wishes of the superior, the blessings of the superior. Yeah. Just like if we talk of Guru Seva, we don't expect someone will do Guru Seva and at the end give a bill. That I did this service and that service, and now you have to give me so much money. But the idea is that by serving, one doesn't ask for anything personal. And that is the essence of bhakti. That we do everything for Krishna, and our reward is that Krishna is pleased. That's all. We become happy by seeing Krishna pleased with our service. So this term seva is synonymous with bhakti. Real bhakti. Real bhakti means ahaituki bhakti. That means bhakti which is performed without any expectation of material remuneration. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he spoke of service to Krishna with the wages, betan, of premadhan. You give me some money or give me some dhanam. What is that dhan? Premadhan. So this meditation on Krishna, it's active meditation. It's not just simply sitting, but serving. Both the body and mind are active in Krishna meditation. In meditation, the idea is to make the mind still. In Krishna consciousness also it's called, we say this meditation because the mind is still, it's fixed on one point. The mind is fixed on Krishna. So one may be doing all kinds of different activities, but the purpose is always to please Krishna. In all activities, it's all meant for Krishna's pleasure. So it's a very different understanding of meditation. But this is the best way to control the senses. Here in this chapter of Bhagavad-gita, in the discussion of meditation, the subject of control of the mind has come up. Because there's no question of meditation unless the mind is controlled. So those who are performing meditation have this big struggle to control the mind, and without which there's no question of meditation. But in Bhakti Yoga, it's very easy. The mind is very difficult to control because the mind is pulled by various senses. The eyes want to see something which is pleasing to them. The ears want to hear something that is pleasing to them, and so on. And even if we sit quietly and try to meditate, thoughts of sense gratification come in the mind. But in Krishna conscious active meditation, the senses and the mind are completely engaged, but in Krishna's service. So in this way, the mind is automatically controlled. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Asangyatatmana yogo dushprapa iti memati. It's very difficult to control the mind by this mechanical, artificial system. So Krishna consciousness means it's just as with Arjuna. The question is of changing the consciousness. Changing the consciousness from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness. Material consciousness means to think in terms of aham mama, I and mine. And what can I get for myself? And this is the root of this whole big topic of material consciousness. Just comes from this aham mama bhav, I and mine. What is that? I am bandhur, I am neti. Dharana laghu chetasam. Then udaritanam. What is that? Udaritanam. What is that? Udaritanam chetasam. Vasudhaiva kutumbakam. Udara charitananam. That's it. So one who thinks that this is my friend, this is my enemy, I am bandhur, I am neti, this is my friend, this is not my friend. I am bandhur, I am neti. Ganana laghu chetasam. People of very small consciousness think in this way. Udara charitanani, in the character of persons of expanded consciousness, magnanimous consciousness, they see everyone as their relative. The whole world is the relative. Everyone, and there's no enemy. So it's a complete change of consciousness. But at the same time, in Krishna consciousness, although it's a very easy process compared to the meditational process, it's also not extremely easy. Because due to bad practice since time immemorial, the mind tends to run towards thoughts of sense gratification. So even though we're supposed to be serving Krishna, due to the bad habit of our mind over millions of lifetimes, we start to think about sense gratification. But Krishna consciousness means to think Krishna te kila cheshta. Everything we should, all our endeavors for the satisfaction of Krishna. So it can be a struggle that we're supposed to be thinking of Krishna and how to serve Krishna, but the mind goes this way and bring it back, and then again it goes this way, that way, this way, that way. This struggle is going on. And therefore, if we are to be successful in Krishna consciousness, successful means to fix the mind on Krishna, then we have to practice Krishna consciousness very intensely. If we don't practice Krishna consciousness intensely, then due to the bad habit, or then we'll think of sense gratification. Our consciousness will go towards sense gratification. It's something like if you're driving a car on a straight road, which is straight, smooth road. Maybe this isn't such a good example for India, but it's easily understandable otherwise. And the alignment is out, so that if you just drive, it goes towards the car. If you just drive and you're supposed to be going straight, it starts veering off at an angle. When cars get a little old, you have to, the wheel alignment has to be adjusted, because it's supposed to go straight, but it starts to go this way or that way. So you have to make some effort to put it, unless you make some effort, it goes off course. You think going on a straight road, the car should go straight, but because the car has got a bad habit, you have to physically pull the steering wheel. So Krishna consciousness, it's a straight road. It's a straightforward process. Chant Hare Krishna, take Krishna prasadam, associate with devotees. Everything is straightforward and easy. But our mind is not straight. So it requires some effort to bring it back. Not only does it require effort to bring it back, but we need constantly reminding that we have to fix our mind on Krishna. Because otherwise we'll think that to be in Maya is good. Why should we control the mind? I mean, there are nice things to see in the world, nice things to hear, nice things to do. So we need to regularly hear, no, we're meant to serve Krishna for His pleasure only. That should be the motive for serving Krishna, because we're meant for serving Krishna, but we don't have much inclination to do so. So we have to be reminded, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Be careful, you get in Maya, you have to get born again and suffer again. Oh, okay, alright, I better be Krishna conscious, otherwise I have to suffer. Actually, Krishna conscious should be on the platform of love. But in the beginning we're just thinking of our own happiness in terms of our mind and our body. So we have to change our whole consciousness, our whole way of thinking. It needs a complete workover, complete change. Same activities, just like Arjuna fighting, he was a fighting man. But in the beginning the question was of fighting for his own sense gratification. But Arjuna thought, actually, I would be happier if I didn't fight, so better I don't fight. But Krishna said, well, I would be happier if you do fight, so you should fight. And Arjuna agreed. So that's the change of consciousness that we all have to undergo. What's in it for me? What do I get out of it? This way of thinking has to be given up. And in every activity we have to think, how will Krishna be pleased? What does Krishna want me to do? And by acting as Krishna wants us to act, our own self-interest is actually served. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnum. People who are enamored by Krishna's immaterial energy, they don't realize that their real swart, or self-interest, is in serving Krishna. So this discussion in this chapter about controlling the mind and senses, that is important for all classes of yogis, including bhakti yogis. Although in the process of bhakti yoga, controlling the mind and senses is done by the very natural system of fixing the mind on Krishna. Any question about this? We have to change our whole thought process. There's that term, what is that? Chitta Shrut. Do you have that? You don't have that in Telugu. Shrut.
Shrota.
No.
Shrota we have. Shrota means hearing.
No, this is a different meaning. No, it means flowing, the flowing of the mind. So, there's thought process. One thought follows after another. And the thoughts may jump like a frog. You see a frog jumps a little bit this way, then a long jump in another way, short, long, short, long. And it's haphazard, the way a frog jumps. So we see something, and that reminds us of something else, then that reminds us of something else, and our mind has gone 3 times around the world in 0.2 of seconds. So, as soon as we're not thinking of Krishna, then the mind goes off on a wonderful tour. And that mixes up with our imagination and with thoughts from previous lives and desires, and it's a complete mental mess. Sometimes even after many years of practicing Krishna consciousness, some thought will come up from many, many years ago, which we don't even know it's there, and some remembrance of something long time ago. Chinta Shrot, that's the word, Chinta Shrot. So, it's a matter of training the mind to fix the mind on Krishna. By this process of hearing and chanting about Krishna, it's meant to fix the mind on Krishna. All right. Any question then? Yeah, go on.
Well, sometimes duties in Krishna consciousness may seem to be not very conducive to engage mind in Krishna consciousness.
Sometimes duties in Krishna consciousness seem to be not very conducive for engaging the mind in Krishna consciousness. Would you like to give an example of that?
For instance, Arjuna had to fight for Krishna.
Arjuna had to fight for Krishna. Well, that wouldn't be conducive for you or me, but it was conducive for Arjuna, because for Arjuna to fight was that was his swadharma, which means his swabhav. Sometimes those two words are used what's the word? They can be interchanged. Swabhav and swadharma. It was his nature to fight. Swabhava jaina kaunteya. Krishna said that you by your swabhav you'll have to fight. Swabhava jaina kaunteya na yotsya iti manyase. You say it's your very nature to fight, but you're saying I won't fight. You think you won't fight, but you'll have to fight. So for Arjuna, it was not only not difficult to fight, but it was impossible for him to avoid fighting. It was so much his nature to do so. So try another example. Well, there are factors, just like, for instance, coming on the train at night and not sleeping, and then it becomes more difficult to fix the mind when doing anything, because of the constraints that the body put upon the mind. So there are various considerations. What is favorable for devotional service? What is unfavorable? So generally, if the body is maintained in a healthy state, that is favorable for serving Krishna. And service is executed in a way that will help the practitioner to advance in Krishna consciousness. The whole process is designed to help people advance in Krishna consciousness. Some difficulty may be there. That's a challenge, by rising up to which we reinforce our surrender in Krishna consciousness.
We cannot on ourselves control our mind. What we can do?
We cannot control our mind by ourselves. What can we do? We take help from Krishna. Krishna has given directions how to do so. There is, of course, also the major factor of Krishna's mercy. Krishna helps those who are serious. Tesham satata yuktanang bhajatang priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Krishna says that for persons who are always endeavoring to serve me with love, I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. But we have to make our effort also. Krishna says, I help those who are engaged in my service, not those who just say, well, it's too difficult. I can't control my mind. Okay, Krishna, give me your mercy. You do all the work. But Krishna helps us by giving us instructions on how to practice sadhana bhakti. So we have to make our effort also. All right then? Hare Krishna.
How can Krishna get happiness or pleasure if Arjuna kills 18 Akshauhini Sena? What is the main reason for this destruction? What does he want to give message to the whole world?
Yes, what's all this killing about? What's Krishna teaching the world? Well, that's clear from some of the most famous verses in Bhagavad-gita. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That Krishna, he appears in every age to re-establish dharma by delivering the devotees and destroying the demoniac. So, demoniac, they generally become powerful in the world, and from time to time Krishna comes and removes them. Every opportunity was given to Duryodhana to have a peaceful settlement, but he refused it. So there are many messages here. One is that if there's a proper leader of society, then they don't tolerate people misruling by force. Not only Arjuna, but every righteous leader of society, they should crush and destroy the bad elements who want to misuse the whole political system. We see at the present time, in most of the world, most of the politicians, they take the position of a leader of people just for their own self-interest. They should be destroyed. There can be no benefit for human society as long as human society is ruled by people who simply want to exploit others. Unfortunately, there's no Kshatriya present in the world at the present time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.